Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to start the vlog for the second part of October. This year I'm not doing weekly vlogs because life is just too busy and I know I probably won't get as much reading done as I'm hoping. So far, the first half of the month definitely points in that direction, but I quickly wanted to let you know which books I'm currently reading so you know what to expect. First of all, I'm slowly but surely making my way through The Turn of the Screw and Other Ghost Stories by Henry James. I do struggle with his writing quite a bit, but I hope that this week I will read the last story that is in here before we get to the novella of The Turn of the Screw, and I hope that I can read that on the weekend. We'll see about that, but that's like my goal, because I've been reading this book for years at this point, and I just want it off my TBR. And then my other current read is The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter. I am 100 pages into this. I wanted to buddy read it with my best friend, but we've realized that our reading speeds just don't align right now, and that's totally fine. So I have decided that I will just keep on reading this now, and whenever my best friend manages to catch up, we can talk about it more. But yeah, this one is the story of the daughter of Dr. Jekyll, and both her parents are dead, and she now is in debt or doesn't really have any money anymore, and she is diving into some family secrets. And so far, the first 100 pages were really good, so I'm very excited to keep reading this. But yeah, keep you updated on that. I will do a whole reading vlog for that series as well. And then lastly, I just started a new audiobook, which I will probably talk about later because so far not quite sure what's going to happen, but it is Our Last Echoes, I think, by Kate Ellis Marshall. This is the second book in this kind of series because the first one is Rules for Vanishing, which I listened to last year, and the stories themselves are not connected, I believe, but we do have like an overarching arc that has to do with the format of the storytelling. And so with this one we also have like kind of this mixed media feel where there is like interview parts and transcripts, and then we learn the story of a girl who goes back to this like remote island in Alaska to find out whether her mom is actually dead. So that's all I've gathered for now, but I'm very excited to get into this one. I had a hard time choosing my next audiobook just because like House of Roots and Ruin, which was the book I've listened to before, it just dampened my mood for audiobooks. So I was like, what in the hell am I going to listen to after that one? But I think I've made the right choice and I'll keep you updated. A Little Book Haul. I love this cover. So we just turned on the heating for the first time, and I think someone likes it.
A whole lot more about the build kits than I do about the Create-A-Sim ones. If I'm being completely honest, I don't know if there's a single Create-A-Sim kit that I would have bought.
So today is the 21st of October. I don't think I have updated you in a while because I really didn't do any reading. It's been really bad this week. If my hair looks a little bit funny, it's because I fell asleep when it was still wet last night because I was just so exhausted. So yeah, it's not been great, but yeah, work is just so super busy, and it's gonna be that busy next week as well. But I have a little bit of a reading update. Now, first of all, with my audiobook, Our Last Echoes, I'm now 60% through and I'm loving it. It is so good. I had kind of lowered expectations because I've always heard so many great things about Rules for Vanishing, and then no one really talked about Our Last Echoes, and so I was like, yeah, it's probably just not as good. And I kind of have to scratch that because I think it is really, really good. I don't know if I like it quite as much as Rules for Vanishing because that one was just a little bit more creative with the road and the different gates. But Our Last Echoes is still really, really creepy. And in this one, we're following, I don't think I've talked about it yet, we are following a girl who has been an orphan and she has been a foster child, but now she's 18 and she gets she gets a hint that what she always believed to be what happened to her mother is not true, and that in reality it all has to do with a weird island in Alaska. And so she goes there to try to find out whether her mom is really dead and whether she can find out what happened. And this island is basically inhabited by bird watchers because there is a very rare bird that lives there. And so she pretends to be an intern for these scientists. And we do get a couple of characters that we have met in Rules for Vanishing, so this is kind of a sequel, but the main storyline is quite separate. So you could read this one without reading Rules for Vanishing. And we have this like weird island with a mist, and there's a lot of like tales of people going missing from this island. And yeah, I'm really loving it. I'm having such a great time and I can't wait to find out what happens at the end. Right now, it seems like one character might have died that I don't want to be dead. We'll see. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of mystery, a lot of like creepy, spooky vibes. I think what Kate Ellis Marshall does so well is like this like super unsettling, weird horror, creating these pictures in your mind. It's almost like watching a movie, and I'm obsessed, and I'm very happy that I found an audiobook I enjoy so much. And then talking about some physical reading, I think I still have to catch you up on one of the stories that I have read a while ago in this Henry James collection. Then I finished one last night. So the one I have read a while ago was Owen Wingrave. In this one, we are following a person who kind of prepares people to go into the military. And he has kind of a student, a future like soldier, who he thinks is gonna be like really good. It's like his prodigy or whatever. And so this person decides he doesn't want to go into the military anymore, and we are following that story, kind of like him trying to get the family to intervene so he doesn't lose his like super great pupil. I did not like that story very much. I thought it was like very basic for a ghost story. So yeah, that one was my favorite. And then I read The Friends of the Friends, which has also been published as The Way It Came. And in this story, we are following a woman who meets a man, and when they talk, he tells her that when his mother died, he saw her ghost. And she's like, oh, you have to meet my friend, because when my friend's father died, she saw his ghost, and so you two must meet. And then she is trying to set up a meeting for that, and in its core, this story was about jealousy. I think it is interesting that this is one of the only stories told from the point of view of a woman, but let's just say that the view of women that Henry James had was very limited. And so, yeah, I really did not like this story. I gave it like more like 2 stars. It was like the worst one I've read so far. So at this point in the book, I've made it to the turn of the screw. So that's going to be my project for this weekend. And I just looked up the soundtrack for The Haunting of Bly Manor to set up the mood a little bit. And so we're gonna get into it. We're gonna read it. And I hope it's gonna be better because this is like a novella and not a short story. We'll see. I have very little hope left that Henry James and me are gonna work out. So today is the 22nd of October, and today I want to take myself on a little date. I'll take you along. We'll see how it goes. I'm a little bit apprehensive. I'm always scared of doing things just by myself. I'm a very, very awkward person, and so yeah, I'm just always scared. But we're gonna try it today. I definitely want to get more used to doing things by myself, just because I don't have like a ton of people to do things with. And so yeah, today we're gonna give it a try. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to a castle and we're gonna see what we can see there. I'll take you along. Wish me luck.
In the center, splayed on his back,
So I'm back home. The wind has positively ruined my hair. But while I was out, I finished reading A Turn of the Screw. And I think with this story, definitely the TV show helped me kind of stick to it and enjoy it more. I didn't struggle as much with the language as I did in some of the other stories. But still, I don't know. I feel like the basic setup is definitely there from the TV show, but then I think that the TV show did such a good job of just combining different stories and just making it more interesting and a little bit more coherent and just a bit more modern, I guess. So while I did enjoy this story, I am not obsessed with it. It's not Hill House for me. I have 2 more stories left in this collection, which I want to read before the month is over, but I'm very glad that I finished the big one. So it is the 23rd of October, and last night I finished another one of the stories by Henry James. I finished the story called The Third Person. In this one we are following 2 cousins who haven't met before, but they inherit a house together and they decide, instead of like selling it, they both want to live there together. They're both single and they're happy with that. And so they move into this house, but they soon realize that a third person is living there, but is not quite alive anymore. I really enjoyed this story. I think it was a little bit more creative than the earlier ones. I also liked how I feel the portrayal of women has gotten much better throughout the stories. And I really liked the ending. I think that it still dragged. It was still a bit too long for my taste and a little bit boring. But the ending was really fun. So I definitely enjoyed this one a lot more than other stories in here. And that means that I only have 1 story left, which I hope I will finish tonight. Then I'm done with this collection. It only took me like 3 years or something. I'm so excited. So yeah, that's great. Apart from that, I'm almost finished with Our Last Echoes. I think I have 30 minutes left, so I'll finish that on the way to work. And I'll tell you all about it tomorrow, but it's so good. So it's the 24th of October and I have great news. First of all, I read the last story in Turn of the Screw and Other Ghost Stories last night. The last one was The Jolly Corner, and I have to be honest, I did not quite follow it. I was quite confused by the story and I don't really know what it was trying to tell me. And this one we're following a man who has been gone from America, from New York City for 30 years, and he returns to his kind of childhood home, and he doesn't really like how the city has changed, and he starts kind of haunting his childhood home at night, looking for someone, and there's also a woman. That's all I can tell you, that's all I gathered. I really didn't like it too much, unfortunately, but I'm done. I think overall I will give this collection 3 stars. I did like The Turn of the Screw and also some of the other stories, but most were just quite boring and I just really didn't vibe with the writing. I found it so hard to follow what was going on, and I have had that before with some authors, but you know, some classics work for me and some just don't. So unfortunately, this one really didn't. Even though I thought it was interesting to read from this time period from an American point of view, because I think that my view of this time is very European. So getting a little bit of the American side of things as well was quite intriguing. So tonight I will finish this one off by reading the introduction, and then it is completely done and I'm so happy. And then I also finished my audiobook, Our Last Echoes, last night. And this one was so good. I really liked the ending as well. I feel like it was very creepy and our characters had to pay a price. But it still had kind of a happy ending in a way, or like a hopeful ending. And it also sets up more. So I'm not quite sure how this story continues, if the more recent books by Kate Ellis Marshall continue this one, but there is definitely a larger like story arc that we're seeing. So I'm very intrigued to read more of her books, hoping that we will get more of this like overarching arc, but the story of the book is completely finished. So that one is done, and it's more like certain side characters that span over the books. So I really, really loved it. I gave it 4 stars. I think I still like Rules for Vanishing a little bit more, just because it was even more creative in the imagery it created. But still, I think if you like YA horror, if you like atmospheric books, if you like weird like body and animal horror, you will probably really like this. It was so good, and I feel like it does a great job of creating a mystery and just making you really, really intrigued to learn what happens in the end. And I do like the kind of like mixed media style of the book a lot too. It's perfect. Read it. It was so good. So the next audiobook I now started is Yellow Jessamine by Caitlin Starling, whatever. I haven't read from this also before, and this one has gotten very mixed reviews, so I'm going in with like lowered expectations, but I can listen to it for free, so I thought, why not just try it? In this one, we are following a woman who is the only surviving member of her family, and it was quite a wealthy family, and she has kind of like this shipyard business, whatever, English words. But because there is kind of like a war going on, they are closed off from the rest of the world, and so this city is breaking down, breaking apart, and we are following this woman, and she likes her poisons. She definitely has some villainous traits, so it's not your typical female character in these like gothic stories. So I'm very intrigued to see where it goes. It's a very short book, so I hope it will be a quick read, and I'll let you know what I thought of it once I'm a little bit more in, or once I'm finished.
Okay, so I have COVID, I sound like shit, but I think we have a little mystery haul because a friend sent me something. We're gonna take a peek inside. Okay, something about this cover is familiar. I think my friend might have read it, but I have no clue what this is. But it looks great. Okay. Another one that I don't really know anything about, but it looks great. sorry. I guess this is a graphic novel. And there's obviously a cat. Thank you so much.
So today is the 1st of November, and as you can probably hear from my voice, I caught COVID for the first time. So my 3.5 year streak of good luck has come to an end. That's also why this vlog was probably quite boring. And I'm sorry for that. I wanted to wrap up this vlog, and there will probably be a lot of cuts because I have to cut out the coughing. So I'm sorry for that. Luckily, not a lot of reading has happened either. I was so busy at work. I had a ton of meetings where I probably picked this one up. And then with COVID, I just couldn't read at all for the first days. Today's day 5 of symptoms, and I finally feel better. So I also think that I will be able to put this vlog up for you today. It's honestly, yeah, just like a cold. I'm very lucky. I don't have a fever. I do have one weird symptom, and that is that my skin right here hurts when I touch it. And I looked it up last night, and apparently that is because the virus attacks your nerves. So that's great. But yeah, apart from that, I'm very, very lucky. I really don't have a lot to deal with right now, apart from coughing my lungs out. So, what have I been reading? The last thing I don't think I mentioned to you, or rather the first thing, is Yellow Jessamine by Caitlin Starling. I finished that and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I think it is a very unique tale. We have a very unique heroine. And yeah, it's about poison, it's about family, it's about female rage and female ambition in kind of like a historical setting. And I would say if you enjoyed something like The Lost Apothecary, but you wanted darker and a little bit more fantasy, then you should definitely check this one out. I really enjoyed it. And I was surprised because I had heard mixed things about it, but it absolutely worked for me. It's very nice little novella for this time of year. That is, I think, the last book that I finished. I did read a short story yesterday. For Halloween, I decided to read The Fall of the House of Usher because I want to watch the new Netflix show. And since it is only a short story, I thought I read it first. And it was okay. I expected something very different and a lot more fleshed out from it. I gave it 3 stars. I think it is hard to read these kind of ghost stories or like horror stories from a modern perspective because all of these tropes are just so familiar nowadays. And I guess it would have been so different to read these tales when they were published and when they were like on trend, I guess. But yeah, it was fine. I liked the writing much better than in The Turn of the Screw. I have to say that. So I don't know if I will read anything else by Edgar Allan Poe, but this wasn't a bad experience. The way you hear about this tale, you just think it is a lot more than it is. And then that's the last thing that I finished. I am almost done with an audiobook.
It is called In the Shadow of Spindrift House. And this is a little novella by Mira. I decided to give her another chance. That is Seanan McGuire, if you didn't know. I have read Into the Droning Deep and I found it so boring. I gave it 2 stars. So I thought I can listen to this one for free. I give it a try. This is very, very different. It's more YA. We are following this group of teenagers who are like teenage sleuth, but now they're not teenagers anymore. They're out of school and it's time to start their lives, but they're trying to do like this one last thing, this one last case, and that is Spindrift House. Now I do have 1 hour left of that, but listening to this while I was sick was probably not the best idea. I felt like even though the story is very straightforward, I sometimes had big issues following it just because my brain wasn't there. So I don't know if I will give this like a fair rating in the end. But then there's also some things that bother me about it. Like, we have a sister and a brother in this group, and we're told how they're so close and how the sister wanted to go away to college, but she knew her brother wouldn't come, and so she didn't go because she could never go anywhere where he wasn't. And then they're in this house, and her brother gets severely injured, and the sister is basically like, okay, let's put him in a spare bedroom and keep going. And I'm like, what? How? So, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't add up. So I will talk more about this in November's vlog when I finished it, I guess. We'll see. And last but not least, we have this book right here. And that is The Strange Case of the Alchemist Starter, which I'm still reading. Now, we threw the buddy read out of the window because we're both sick right now. I read some of that last night. I'm almost halfway through now. So I hope, now that I'm feeling better, I can make quick work out of that one. And that's it. I hope that your October went much better. Mine was cursed, to be honest. And yeah, leave a like or a nice comment. I always appreciate those. And I'll talk to you soon, hopefully, when I got my voice back. Bye.